Hi, I'm John and welcome back to my Lair of Action Figures. So today it is Sunday and like every Sunday, it's going to be a new episode of This Week in Action Figure News. So of course this is going to be episode 35 and of course we're going to be talking about Lenny leaving G.I. Joe or Hasbro. We're going to be talking about Hyia toys, we're going to be talking about Hot Toys, and we're going to be also talking about Inart. So without further ado, let's quickly have a look at this. I did a full video explaining why certain parts of this text look weird, why there's certain issues that I have with it, and of course I do wish Lenny all the best in his new adventure, because let's be honest, if he decides to leave, he has the right to leave, but I do find his explanations a bit weird, so go and check out the full video, or let me know if you watch the video. If you want to put any comments over here, you can also do it, and we can start a conversation around it, so I'm not going to go any much more into it. So of course, I wanted to talk about Hyia Toys. I didn't do any video, didn't do much about it, and they have announced another G.I. Joe figure, so of course it does interest me. So must say, Hyia Toys did a pretty interesting job, didn't go the full way, and I'm starting to ask myself a few questions about it. So I can understand that they have to follow certain lines. I know with working with Sideshow during the period of time where they had the license of G.I. Joe, and it was a nightmare from the part of Sideshow. Again, there's always two sides to a story, but the one from Sideshow did say that it was not a very good experience working with them. But again, this is something from their part of view, and I don't have the one from Hasbro. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, there's some cool ideas that they did over here, and I do think it's a bit of a shame that we did not get them with, of course, our friend Dusty and Tiger Force version with the classified one. So first of all, you're going to note that there's two different goggles. So I do like it. These goggles look and resemble more the ones from Hit and Run, and I like the fact that you can get two different goggles on it. The reason we got two different goggles styles of not really style but sizes was because you had one for the helmet and one for putting it directly on him, but they were this one over here. Another part that I find interesting, of course, you will see these two hooks here are pretty interesting, and it's a bit of a cut away from what they did with the classified version. But again, one big problem, this figure costs as much as the a classified figure, and it's 4 inches tall. So my big problem is, if you're going to do some little changes, why not give him a holster for a pistol for a secondary weapon? This guy is supposed to be a tier 1 operator, and I don't understand why he doesn't get a secondary weapon. I'm not going to talk about the FAMAS because that's the rifle that was given with Dusty, both versions, Tiger Force and regular one. So of course, yeah, I have no issue with it. But as you can see, it is really nice that you can remove the bipod and put the rifle on the backpack. This is something that I think was missing with the one that they did in the classified series. So yeah, nice job on it. Will I pick it up? Yeah, no. Again, I have to put my money into what I really want, and I do not have unlimited funds, so I can't be spreading my wings all over the place. So sadly, I will not be picking this figure up. I haven't picked any other ones up, and they seem to sell out pretty fast. Of course, they're again limited to certain parts of market, and I'll sadly have to be imported into the US, or of course imported into Europe from third parties or second parties. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but don't have the money for it, so I'm going to pass. Let me know if you're going to be picking up this figure. So of course, we're going to be moving on to Hot Toys, and Hot Toys is already coming out and saying that they want your money. So this is something from the 15th of April. So we're not even at May 1st. Of course, Star Wars Celebration and all this kind of events start always a bit before. Some start on the 30th of April, some start on the 1st of May if we're taking Lego. So of course, Hot Toys is going out strong, and it's telling you that it wants your money. And of course, then a few days later, they decided to post this as a tease. So of course, you have Grogu and the Mandalorian. We already knew about it. We have these guys over here. Are they going to be 6-scale figures, or are they still talking about the 1/1 scale figures that they did? Because we already have 2 in pre-order, and then it looks like we're going to, well, 1 in pre-order. This one has not been released, so I guess we're going to be seeing April 30th, June 3rd. Who's really funny that they're not going on to the June 4th where they have it. What is interesting to see is we're going to get a new Stormtrooper, a Snowtrooper, and finally they seem to be revealing that they're going to do the AT-AT driver. So as you can see, 260, 280, 280, 280, 400, 300. So yeah, I do hope you have on this one also at 280. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of money, and I guess we're going to have a lot of other stuff revealed. So of course, now that we have talked about what they really revealed and teased, we're going to be talking about what came out this week. So the AT-RT driver, of course, went up for pre-order this week, and of course the figure does look nice. I did my thoughts about it, and of course you do get the AT-RT with the driver and AT-RT vehicle. Now this is, if you want the both sets, this is the most interesting way of ordering it, because if you order them separately, it's going to cost you way much more. So again, this is something that Hasbro may want to take into consideration, because they don't seem to understand when you gather everything in one package. Normally it should bring down the price and not rise the prices. But yeah, that's a big issue. And also, I wanted to pre-order this one from Sideshow. The only problem, I didn't go forward due to the fact that they did not give me the shipping cost for it, and I don't want to get any kind of bad surprises or being overcharged for it. So it is something that I have put on hold for now. And I can understand that Sideshow doesn't want to go forward with pricing, but they already have the pricing for this vehicle. They already know how much the 501st one cost, and this is nearly the same one. And the figure over here, I don't think that the weight is going to be changing or the volume of the box is going to change that much. So again, I think it's a bit of a shame that we are not getting it. So moving on to Inart, and of course, if you've been following and you've been on internet, you will know that Superman is blowing his 88th candles because he is 88 years old, and of course Inart decided to go with the 1978 version of Superman, and as you can see, you get 2 head sculpts. Well, yes, you get 2 different head sculpts, and that's something who's pretty nice. A bit of a more serious face, a bit of a smile face, who's something that I highly appreciate that they did for this figure. Then you're getting 3 hair pieces. Well, again, it depends which version you're picking up. So this is something that's pretty nice. You can see that Inart has gone away from making wheel hair. So that's also something that would have been very hard to be able to give you the wheel hair and give you 3 different haircuts with it, that were all different way of combing it. Your hair would have been a lot harder. And of course, here we have Clark Kent. Now, something who's really interesting, and I would be kind of curious to see how it looks on the final product, but sadly I won't be getting this figure, and we'll be talking about it a bit later on why. So, of course, they've decided to change the way the figure have the wrist, and the wrists are a bit longer. It reminds me of the ones that we first got with Sideshow collectibles back in the day. If you remember, some of the older figures had the wrist pegs a bit higher up, so the arms would be the forearm would be a bit longer on the wrist. So that's something who's really interesting. As you can see, the head sculpt looks pretty neat. Of course, here we have him without the glasses, and when I'm looking at this, I do have a bit of a Brandon Routh look onto it, a bit of a mix between Christopher Reeve and Brandon Routh. Let me know in the comment section if I'm right or wrong, but I see a bit of Brandon Routh over here, and of course this shows you that Superman Returns was a good pick for Brandon Routh. That you like the movie or not is another question, but I do think that this figure looks pretty amazing. So of course we do have him with his spandex, blue spandex, and his underwear on top of his blue spandex. So yeah, the figure looks pretty amazing, and of course I guess they went with a silicone body and not a full articulated body like the one that Hot Toys did back in the day. So that's a good point, of course, because you will not snag or pinch your spandex on the articulations. That was a big issue that the one that Hot Toys did had as a problem back in the day. But then afterwards, you have another big question that you need to ask yourself: how is this material of the body is going to evolve over time? So yeah, that's a big problem. So I know that some people did some videos where they're saying, "Oh, look, with the new Hot Toys with the silicone bodies that they did, I had it bended, it hasn't moved." Well, the question is, if you had it for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you have it in a position, and it didn't do any movement or didn't have any creases or any problems, that's great. But the real question is, how is it going to look in 1 or 2 years, or 3 years, or 4 years down the road? That's where the big question. But this one, I mean, Inart really did a great job on this Superman. So, of course, here is the Superman that you're getting. This is the regular version. So, of course, as you can see, they're talking about the way he looks, highly accurate physics. Well, if we're going to put a little anecdote about his physics, you have to understand that he was not the first pick to play Superman. The first pick to play Superman was, of course, David Prowse, who's the one in the Darth Vader costume. And of course, they didn't go with him because he had too much of an English accent. What you have to understand is Christopher Reeves went into some physical training, and it was David Prowse who was doing the training and trained him to get the body that he got. So yeah, pretty interesting. So of course they have the hands with the wrist covers over here, or maybe elongated wrists, I would call it in that way. But yeah, the figure does look nice. And this one is going for $285, shipping included. But there's a catch on that one. So, of course, then we have the deluxe version that they did. So, of course, you get Clark Kent, and you get, of course, Superman. As you can decide to put Clark Kent, this is a very memorable thing where he's pulling his shirt open. Then you have the interchangeable capes, who is also really nice with the wiring, without the wiring. I think this is a very complete set. And this one is going for $539. So, yeah, that's a pretty good price for it, and this also includes shipping. But like I said, there's going to be a catch about it. So here is the part where they're talking about the interchangeable heads with the interchangeable hair pieces, and as you can see, it does look pretty neat. Of course, the one with the hat has a bit of a closer fix. Of course, that does make sense, but it is nice to see the possibility and the fact of getting the two head sculpts. So here is, of course, the Superman, the standard version, and as you can notice, well, you get only one head sculpt. Okay, $285 shipping included. It does come up to the same prices, but again, when you're paying so much money and you're expecting something from Inart, you would be expecting to have interchangeable head sculpts and not only the one hairpiece to change, and that's something I think was a bit of a shame. So I can understand that they wanted to go for it. You also have the kryptonite necklace that was given to by Lex Luthor. So, yeah, this one here is an interesting price, but I do find it a bit cheap. And as you can see, you can really see the way the wrist is a bit longer over here. And when I'm looking at the hand here, this reminds me the Thing from what is it called, from Adam Family. So if you want to use those extra hands as the Thing and walking around, it could work also. But yeah. If I had the money, the $285, would I pick this figure up? Nope. I would go for this one over here. It makes more sense. You get everything over here. You get the two head sculpts. You get the two characters, Clark Kent, and of course Superman, and you get two hair pieces. You get all of that, and this is something that I find a lot more attractive and more tempting to have. Now, what I found very funny about it over here is it looks like that this kind of t-shirt that goes under his working suit is of course cut out and it's not put in. Personally, if I'm paying so much money, I would have preferred to have that t-shirt or this Superman outfit underneath put directly on the figure and not me having to undress the figure, putting it back on. Or is it really there and it should to be there to put as a picture and it's already included? I think they should have already put it in. But again, does come with a lot of accessories and does come with a lot of stuff. For $539 shipping included, it is a good price. Now, I was talking about the catch about this one, and the catch is it's only for Asia and New Zealand and Australia. So if you don't live in that part of the world, well, you cannot pre-order this figure. So I guess this is going to be third parties who are going to be importing it, or second parties who are going to be importing it. It's going to be sold on eBay, and of course, if you want it from the rest of the world, then you will have to go in that kind of way. So that's a big of a problem over there. I find it is a bit a shame that you have it. It's the same problem with Gimli. Gimli was only available in also New Zealand, Asia, Hong Kong, and all of that, and not available for the rest of the world. So, of course, if you don't know or don't have any friends living over there that can order it and then ship it out to you, well, you're going to pay a lot of money to be getting it. And this is where I wanted to make a point about it also, due to the fact that there's a lot of people talking out there, and I'm going to be doing some videos debunking a lot of people on YouTube, giving you false information, giving you half-truths, and going around the corner trying to talk like they know what they're talking about and have no clue what they're talking about. And one of the videos is somebody talking about how Inart is kind of destroying Hot Toys. Well, not really. If you cannot get their products and they're only for one specific part of the world, it's not really them destroying destroying Hot Toys, because on one part of the world, Hot Toys has the rest of the world, and that's because Sideshow has the licensing. And of course, I guess Hot Toys maybe not too happy about Inart, but they're not really competing or playing in the same realm due to the fact that they're reserved for a specific market, so they don't need to really worry about them. So yeah, that's something that you have to take into consideration, and I guess they must have somebody who is going to be carrying their products in, of course, Australia, and of course also in, New Zealand. So I guess they're going to be shipping out of those different countries, so it makes it a lot easier to have it under control. And again, the prices are pretty impressive. I mean, of course, the double box would be a bit more expensive for the people who want to understand how shipping works. If you live in North America, shipping is based on two categories. So the two categories is the volume weight. So that's the length, the measurements of the box, length, height, and depth. And that's going to give you your price for it. Now, if the wheel weight is more important than the dimension rules weights, then you're going to be taxed on wheel weight. So it's whoever is the most heaviest or bigger will be the determination. In Europe, you also have length dimensions that come into play, but mostly it is based on weight. So, of course, if the packet weighs 2 kilos, if it goes under a certain dimension, you're going to be taxed as 2 kilos. So I guess, don't know how Australian post works or Hong Kong post works. I was too young to remember when I was living over there and didn't really was doing in that kind of business. So yeah, it is something that is very interesting, and I wouldn't mind to have these figures, but again, don't know anybody. Or I could try to see to get somebody to pick it up, but again, it seems a lot of a hassle, and of course it is also a lot of money to be able to ship it back. So I'm going to be passing. Again, like I said, it's a question of what do I want to focus my collection on, and this one it's going to be a bit of a pass. But again, as you can see, regular version 285, two figures 539, and this brings me to the point where Hasbro needs to learn about it. If you remember last week episode, in episode 34, I was talking about Dark Treya and of course Darth Nihilus, who was an exclusive set that I told you that I was interested in buying. Now the problem is I saw it on Amazon and it's $59.99, so that brings it down to roughly $30 a figure, and the regular Black Series is $27.99. So I cannot understand how Hasbro, making a double pack who is a lot smaller and better to ship out than having double boxes of small figures, is charging more money when they're double packed. They should be cheaper. So I'm going to be passing on Dark Treya and of course Darth Nihilus, and I'm going to wait for it and play like for the G.I. Joe Classified, and I'm going to say wait and see when they go on clearance, and I will be picking them then. So let me know, do you have anybody that you know, or are you part of the lucky people watching this video and you live in Australia, New Zealand, or even Asia, and you're going to be able to order it? Let me know. Are you going to order it, pre-order it? Also, what do you think about Hasbro putting up higher prices when you have two figures in one box? Are you also going to be like me and bidding against Hasbro and of course trying to pick up the figures in clearance? Let me know in the comment section, and let's start a conversation around our favorite hobbies. So that's going to be it for this week in Action Figure News, episode 35. If you like this kind of videos, please leave a like, share, comment in the section. If you have any suggestions, let me know also. Of course, if you want to pre-order anything from Sideshow's website, I have an affiliated link. If you would like to use it and could use it, that would help out a lot the channel. So please use it, and thank you in advance if you're using it. Of course, if you want to see more news, other pictures, and of course more videos, you will have the link at the end of this video. You also have the link of my Facebook page, Instagram page, if you want to go and check out more stuff. Of course, if you're watching this on Sunday, I wish you have a fantastic Sunday, and of course if you're watching it any other day of the week, I wish you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.